you see the whole world shaking, and you feel your heart is breaking, take my hand, no hesitating. Oh, when you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding, together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. It's December 4th, 2021, and it's the fourth day into December. And if you have one of those Advent calendars, today you open up your fourth day, and the Sunday is the second Sunday of Advent, and I'll be getting your. If you're buying Christmas presents, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you're getting your Christmas presents purchased. I got pretty much mine. I might do a couple things, little smaller items, more. But I think I have a good amount of it done. My wife started very, very early. She was smart and got all the grandchildren's toy gifts out, so that was good. But and have all the lights up in the house and on the outside, so that's all done. So it's just kind of like when I'm not working, enjoying the holidays, enjoying the Christmas specials. I was playing some Christmas music. Let me see if they're okay. It's Dean Martin singing. Forgot to put that back on. And so just enjoying then the sounds and the lights and the different events of the holiday season. And I think we're going to have a really big, really big buying season. I mean, we already still have. I mean, it might calm down a bit. People who I have looking on my website and they want to buy right now, but they're kind of putting it. They just want to go through the holidays first and get that done with. So they're working on, that, maybe putting a little bit on the back burner. But I'm really seeing the beginning of the new year with the economy still going strong. Okay. I think we're going to be okay for the new year. As long, and I've said that through all my live stream podcast, that we get in control of this coronavirus, now the Omicron variant. Um, that's the only stumble block that could really change things immediately. Okay, and we don't want that to happen. So I'll lower my Christmas station right now. So as long as that is under control, because again, if that goes strong again with people getting sick and we have to go back to different ways of reacting in public, and if people get sick and a lot of factories start maybe not closing down but not having the same amount of staff, it could be just a big game changer, and a big game changer very quickly. So it looks like we have kind of a bit of a reign on this virus, but it's still, we're not there yet 100%. So I always add that in. I always end with saying, please get vaccinated if you're not, and I'll say it again at the end of this broadcast. But that's the only thing right now that I see being a major problem with our economy going forward. Now, the supply issue, I'm hearing some reports that it's getting better. We may not have the gifts that people want by Christmas, but I think it's beginning to loosen up. Once that, and if anything that we get out of this whole event that has happened, we will learn a lot about economics, and we will actually learn a lot about I guess in a sense it's math, the way the virus, how it reaches out, and it goes by like exponents, by being squared, right? So we're going to learn more about, and it doesn't take a lot of people to spread it, right? One affects a person, they affect two other people, they affect four people, and it goes on and it goes on and on. So we learn a lot about that and how quickly these diseases spread. Okay, so if anything, we should learn a lot of lessons from it, and how really our economy, how easily, there's so much involved with it, and here we're dealing with, transportation issues. It's not even issues where you're manufacturing a product, it's trying to getting it to the right places. All right, so that's part of the whole process of the wheels of commerce. So there's a whole lot that we're learning from this. Okay. I hope you all are well otherwise. And let me do my little preview for today's show. Okay, so what I wanted to do with this episode, we seem to always to be focused on the buyer, but I want to also focus on the seller. I will have to say that more listings are hitting the market, which is good. And that's the main problem we had especially for our buyers. At the beginning of this year and towards the spring and summer, and while we were deep in the grips of the pandemic and there were a lot of restrictions, people, meaning sellers who wanted to sell their house, held back if they were able to because they did not want people walking through their homes and perhaps spreading the virus. So unless they were already moved and out of their homes and the homes were vacant, they did not have that fear because they're out of the house. But with people who were in their homes, all right, and some people braved it. I'm not saying every single seller who still lived at home did not put their house on the market, but that was a big concern. But being that we're getting more of control of the pandemic, and we have a good um, vaccine, and now we're coming out that we with pills that you could take uh, if you get it. Right now, the price is very expensive. I hope it comes down. I hope it works out. But we're getting more on top of this. So more homes are going on the market. With more homes on the market, there are more homes for buyers to view, and it's not like 7 people putting an offer on just one house. Now you still might have some competition, but it might just be one other person. All right. In most cases, it's not as crazy as it was about 3 to 4 months ago. All right. So it's calmed down. So, um, and we're hoping that even more homes will come on the market with the new year. Again, as long as we get this COVID-19 under control. All right. So what I found an article, and I have to post it on my blog. But it's very interesting because it talks about um, age-old real estate selling tips to ignore. So it's telling you what are some falsehoods or things that worked well years ago doesn't work so well now. So home planning to sell their home tend to get unsolicited advice from every direction. Do this and don't do that. Okay. As more home buyers become more informed and market savvy, knowing which age-old advice to ignore can be important. Here are some adages which should be retired immediately. Okay. And one of them, let me take my caption down here so you can see everything. Let me do that first. Spring is the best time to sell. And yes, while spring is traditionally when home sales tick upward, the real key to selling is inventory levels, which typically occur other times of the year. Okay. So the correlation with selling in the spring is mostly with family who have children and they're thinking about moving. So they want to start that process in spring. So when the children go off for their summer vacation, whether it's the end of May, the beginning of June, they could start their new school year in a brand new house, and they could take the summer months to move and get everything set up. Um, and at times it is, a time when we have stronger sales, but doesn't necessarily mean that is the best time to sell. I'm going to show a video where the Christmas season is a great time to sell. All right. Because for sellers, the ones who are shopping now are truly, truly motivated. They're taking the time now to go home shopping when most people are, buying Christmas gifts, going to Christmas parties, going to Christmas shows, whatever, or whatever your religion is. It doesn't always have to be all Christmas. Whatever feasts you celebrate that happen around this time of year, and a couple do. All right. Uh, so the people who are not doing these different events are in the market looking at homes, and they truly are the ones that they're not just touching and feeling out the market; they really want to buy. So it's a great time to list. I'm going to show a video on that as well. All right. So you don't have to wait to spring. Okay. And on the other hand, the sellers who have the houses on the market, they might be more open uh, to give some seller concessions, whether they will help pay for some of the buyer's closing costs, or maybe all of them, or they might throw in some other things. So it works both sides. It could be a win-win situation. I remember when I was back in Brooklyn, and uh, back in Brooklyn, I taught during the day, and then in the evening time, I worked at a real estate office. But I did mostly, if not all, I did all rentals. But the thing is, the commission was much better in New York City than in Virginia. Where in Virginia, if you're representing the buyer or the renter, you're just getting a referral fee. It could be like $110, $150. But back in Brooklyn, um, we got well, when I worked for one company, we did 10% of the annual, and when I worked out on my own, I just did 1 month's rent. But again, the rents back then were expensive, but in Brooklyn now they're super expensive. Um, but I made a lot of good money during the holiday season, because the ones who were looking for apartments then, they really needed a place to live. So um, it's all about hustling. Okay, it's all about being out there and reaching out to as much people as being an agent. But again, the people who are looking and selling at this time most likely are truly motivated. Okay. So second here, the first offer is always the best. And that's not true. Don't jump at the first offer. Okay. And even if you have some reservations for it, and you could just, and again, this is representing the seller, you could wait. You could ask the buyer's agent if they have a time limit on it, when they need to get back to you, if they're going to accept it. But don't always jump at the very first offer. Let's see what comes in. I love this one, the third one here. Open houses sell houses. Not anymore. Only 2% of the homes sell as the direct result of an open house, according to the National Association of Realtors. Virtual tours and online photos will attract more interest than foot traffic. And I couldn't agree more. I really like that one, because I've done many open houses and it's either hit or miss. And most of the times it's a miss. And you will get people who are just, that's what they do on Sundays and Saturdays. They'll go around to open houses, but they're not really into purchasing. They're just, I don't want to use the word nosy, but they just want to see what's out there. They're not truly motivated. Now, most of the times it's just for the neighbors, and the neighbors will come and take a look at it. And then if they really love the neighborhood and they want some of their friends to move in, that could be helpful. But to be honest with you, most open houses I've done, it's only been 2 or 3 people. Many times there was no people. And I do the daily press. That's the local paper. I've done all the social media marketing and Craigslist and so forth. And they really, put the signs out early. Um, and maybe there are other agents. Maybe they had better luck. I haven't had, where I was so busy that, uh, I had so many people coming in. No, maybe at one I had about five, and I guess that's okay. But it's never been where it was like a revolving door. But most people nowadays with today's technology, and I'm talking about today, I'm not talking about, if you were a realtor in the 80s and the 90s. I actually started in the 90s. It was a different time. Okay. We didn't have the resources that we have now. So open houses probably were more efficient and effective back then. But the technology that we have now, uh, people could get an idea of how the home looks, and if you're walking through, you get these virtual tours. You'll get to see how that works out, and then if it really, you know, rings your bell and you say, "Now I want to see it in person." But like I said, but we do it. We do it for our sellers because we want to show that we want to give them the most exposures. But it's not the number one way to sell a house. Okay. So price high, so there's room to negotiate. Home buyers are more sophisticated about pricing and will not bother with overpriced home, and that's so true. Okay, we have a very well educated home buyer market. Okay, they have all these resources to find out home values. So if you're pricing it too high and saying to come down, it's not a good idea. Okay, and because they're so educated about the market, and again, I'm talking about buyers, they'll put in that price range. So if your house that you're selling is really worth 200,000, but you're going for 220,000, when the buyer or the buyer's agent sets up their search on the MLS for them to see homes that are in their price range, that home will not show up, because if they use 200 as a top, your house that you priced at 210 is not going to show up in that drip. So it's not a good idea. Now, what was happening, and it's still happening now, not as much as a few months ago, is that you price it right, but what will happen, because of the multiple offers, you probably would get a price that's higher than the asking price. All right, so it's best to, if you have a trusted advisor, realtor like myself, I will really fine tune that that CMA for you, that comparative market analysis, to really put your house in the right price range. Then it says, if you don't want to make repairs, then lower your price. Unless you market your home as a fixer-upper, buyers expect the home to be in a reasonable condition, and a low price might not be enough to encourage an offer. So, again, this is kind of a tricky area, because you really, when you do a CMA, and when a realtor does a CMA, as opposed to, some sort of algorithm that runs it off either on Zillow or on our websites, we humans do a better job, because you have to be very subjective. All right. So it's not just the amount of bedrooms. It's just not the amount of baths. It's not just the amount of square footage. It basically is, has the house been upgraded? All right. So if you think your house is worth 300,000, you have others that in the area the same amount of square footage, and we usually use a 1 mile radius. All right. So Uh, it could be other houses there that are 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, let's say 1,800 square feet. But you see others that are 330. But when you look at the pictures, and that's why it's so important to look at the pictures, now your subjectivity comes in. You see that there are more upgrades. The bathroom has been upgrading. The kitchen's been upgrading, and we actually upgraded, and we're actually going to talk about it. Just keep it at the true market price. You don't have to go lower, because with today's market, again and again, this is the way it was a few months ago. And since many of our buyers, because of COVID-19, they spent a year not going on trips to Europe, not going to plays, to the theater, to a lot of restaurants weekly, or twice a week or whatever, and they have money saved up. So if the house is priced reasonably, they'll make the repairs, okay? And you don't have to lower it a lot. You have to be, again, after doing that CMA, you see some houses 330 that have been upgraded, and you said, okay, mine is really threatening, but I'll bring it down to 2. No, don't do that, because then they'll think there's other things wrong with the house. Do it to 300,000 and see whether it tracks. Okay, you don't have to lower it, because most buyers, at the time being, will make the upgrades themselves because they happen to have more cash on hand at the moment. Okay. And then the last one, you must update your kitchen to sell. Buyers do love renovated kitchens, but keep in mind that you typically recover only 81% of the cost of a remodel when selling. And that's actually putting a little bit higher, because I spoke to one appraiser, and he's told me on renovations, always consider half the cost of that renovation. Like, I had someone who wanted to put up a garage to increase the value of his home. Of course, it would have been a detached garage. And the appraiser told me it's not a dollar for dollar match. Always go with half the price. So this article is giving an 81%. It's a little bit higher, but I would play it safe and say it only increases the value of the house by 50% of that cost. Now, I have to say one more thing. There's a difference here between renovation and repairs. I mean, if there are things you have to fix in your kitchen, if there's a cabinet that's off kilter, it has to be straightened out, they need to be painted. This is different from like putting in all brand new cabinets, putting in all new countertops, faucets. If you have to make repairs, you got to make repairs. But this is discussing truly renovations, really changing the kitchen. We changed our kitchen. We upgraded our kitchen this year. We're not wanting to sell. We just wanted a new kitchen. And we're loving it. A lot of times when you make a change to a house, it's like almost like living in a new house. So that's my little side, the little thing I want to say on that. All right, so then selling your home is a major life decision. Before you begin the process of listing a home, do your research and make sure the advice you rely on is valid in today's changing market. Oh, that's so excellent. That is so excellent, because it is changing. All right. Okay. What I said now may not be valid next year when I talked about doing upgrades. Okay. Because, again, at the beginning of the year, when we had 3 or 4 people making offers on the house, they would say, well, if that kitchen has to be renovated, I'll do it. I'll do the renovation. I'll upgrade the kitchen. I'll upgrade the bathroom. All right. Because I spent a year home, not spending a lot of money, not going to movies, not going to restaurants, not going to plays, not going to concerts, uh, not going to trips either around the world or throughout the United States. So they had more money. Mo and mo money. So again, what we're discussing right now may not hold true at the beginning of next year. Okay? It's constantly changing. That's why you need a trained professional to help you with your real estate needs. All right, what I want to do next, I just want to, like I said, I don't like going over a half hour. I do talk so much, but okay. So, what should you do? Okay. And I have this up here. This is on my blog as well. Real estate with Mr. G dot blog. So just to go through it first, fast, make it inviting, show that it's cared for, boost your curb appeal. They talk about power washing, outdoor services. There's so many people who offer power washing if you don't have the equipment. Check light bulbs and replace as needed. Vacuum, mop, sweep floors, clean the windows. Oh, this is a big thing. I mean, like I like clean the windows and cleaning the floors as important. But if you have a lot of knickknacks or a lot of personal photos, take them down. I always remember less is more. Okay, they don't want to see a crowded space. They want to see an open space with lots of room. So if you have, like we do, 10,000 photos of the grandchildren, take them down. Okay, declutter. Tidy up the landscaping, fixing anything that's broken. Remember, it's not renovation, it's fixing what's wrong. Organize countertops, cabinets, and closets. Freshen up your entry. Give every room a clear purpose, okay? So if someone's walking in there, if it's a bedroom, make it look like a bedroom. If it's an office, make it look like an office. If it's an audiovisual room, make it look like an audiovisual room. Next week, I'm going to put up a little funny video that I made. Oh, God, it's about 14 years ago about getting your home ready for sale. And it's basically everything that I'm saying here, but I think it's funny. I'll post that next week. Touch up any scuffs on the walls, sweep patio decks, and walkways. These all seem pretty basic, but people will forget it. And I think a lot of the ones that they would forget, again, is with all the photos and the little tchotchkes and knickknacks. Put them away. It's like the guy in the commercial when he talks about homeowners becoming like their parents. And, people say, I woke up early. And he goes, nobody cares. And same thing with knickknacks. No one else cares about those. I'm sorry, but only you and your spouse, care. And if it's pictures of your children, then they would care. But that's about it. All right, so let me show a little video on why it's still a good idea to list your house during the holiday season. And I kind of spruced this up, so I hope you like it. Okay, so hopefully that was a nice little summary of what we talked about. Well, basically, not everything we talked about, but why it's still a good time to list your home now. See, as I said before, I was a teacher, and we like to have a summary at the end. So it kind of ties in everything that I taught in the lesson. So hopefully that was helpful. And I'm hearing from my producer, William, that we may have a special guest in the audience.
It's great news. We have a celebrity in the audience. He was an American puppeteer of the mid and late 20th century. In a career that spanned over 60 years, he and his puppets performed for millions of adults and children, especially on The Ed Sullivan Show during the Christmas season. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bill Baird Puppets.
Deck the hall, deck the hall, deck the hall, deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la.
Oh, it was really great seeing them again. Again, the last time I saw them probably was the Ed Sullivan Show. Oh, okay. Just one more thing, because I do want you to contact me. So let me get to my website here. Now, since we talked about listing your homes, if you go to my website, realestatewithmrg.com, you don't have to type in all this. In the top menu, you'll see sell. You click on that, and you could enter your address. You'll get like a quickie, a CMA, home value worth. But I'll get the alert that you sent it, and I will fine tune it for you to really zone in for the best price for your home. Okay? All right. So that's it for this episode. And I'm so glad you stopped by. I hope you learned something. And I hope you have a wonderful week. And I hope you're enjoying the holiday season. And if you are not vaccinated, please get vaccinated. If you have been vaccinated but you still didn't get your booster yet, please get your booster shot, okay? And most of all, be kind to each other. And remember, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other. I'll see you next week.